Welcome to Just the Tip Jazz with Sean Daniel and Justin Mitchell.
That's right.
What are we learning today?
Today we're learning the 6s and 13s. Right?
What does that remind you of?
Well, so, jazz chords, a lot of time, the way they move, they remind me of sandwiches, right? It's like the most important part, like the best part about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is not the bread.
It's not the peanut butter.
It's arguably not the peanut butter or the jelly. It's all of them together, right? So we're going to teach you a couple chords, and, the main chords of the chord progression are the bread, right? Mm-hmm. And then so we're going to teach you how to embellish those
with the
movements, right? And so basically what we've done is we've taken 4 notes chromatically, and we just put chords to it. So the notes are... So that's just moving chromatically.
Sounds like a little bit of jazz.
Right.
But that's not all jazz.
That's not all jazz.
It's
not all jazz. So, the idea is to build chords around that. Now the cool thing about this exercise is, we're never going to play anything on the A string. The root is on the E. Mm-hmm. And you actually never have to move your index finger other than moving it chromatically. Yep. Right? So the first thing, before we add all the other chords, I think maybe Sean and I should just play the chords.
Sure. Why don't you go for it? Because again, chromatics, right. One note at a time in sequence, it's a very important part of jazz.
Right. Yeah, so first we'll just play the whole thing for you so you can see what you're going to learn. So it's like, this is the... And we're going to add chords to it, so it's... Right, so you can hear that kind of chromatic movement. So, and we're also moving chromatically on the E string, the low E string, as well as on the D string.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like any good peanut butter and jelly sandwich,
that's right.
No matter where you make it, there are going to be some constants.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, embellish it as you will in between. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this kind of thing is important. 6s and 13s is what it comes down to.
That's right. So, first, I think a good exercise would be to put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string and your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. Because this is what everything is going to be, is... And so now you can hear how it's moving, right?
And right off the bat, if we're thinking of G, thinking the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a root note and it's 6,
right?
Major 6.
That's right. And then it's basically a flat 9 of the G, right? Because it's G sharp. So you could look at it a few different ways. But basically, we're still playing a G chord without the root because the bass player will be, moving with us. And so then we basically be playing like a flat 9 and a flat 7, right? Sure. And if you think of it in the context of G, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, right. So like G, the 9th note in G would be the 2nd note at a higher octave.
That's right.
So that's why if you just go 1 fret higher, thinking of it in jazz tips,
right?
It's a flat 9.
Yeah.
Right? But really, we've just gone 1 fret higher.
Right, and then we're going to do the same thing with A. We're going to play A, so the 5th fret of the low E, and then the 4th fret of the D string, right? So then now we have a 1 and a 6.
Which A, in the key of G, is a minor chord. Right. And the interesting thing about a minor 6 chord is it actually has the 6th note from its own major scale, which in the key of A major, you'd have the same note, but we're making it minor.
Right. That's right. And what's also interesting is that this chord progression could be in C or G. I mean, you could play lead over that like that. And then of course we're back to the flat 9, flat 7, right? Yeah. So which will eventually basically be a 13 chord, right?
So just get your middle finger and your pointer finger.
And once you have that down, then we're going to add the little gymnastics of what our ring finger and our pinky finger are going to be doing, right? So for the first chord, this G...
Just move that a little bit.
Yeah.
There you can kind of see it. Yeah.
So for the first chord, for this G major 6, we're going to have our pinky finger be on the 4th fret of the G string, and then our ring finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the B string. It's kind of tricky to see, but it sounds like this.
Beautiful.
So remember, we're skipping the A string, right? We're going to move everything up, just same as we did, except we're going to switch the position of our ring finger and pinky, right? So the ring finger goes to the 4th fret here, and our pinky goes here on the 5th fret of the B string, right? And so we make this little staircase. So it's like 3rd fret of the D string, 4th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string, right? And that sounds like this.
Super easy.
Very easy.
So the name of that is a minor 13 chord.
Yeah, if we consider this as the root, yeah, it would be a minor 13 chord, right? Because you have the 6, the 13, the minor 3, and the root.
So you go from a G major 6 like a G sharp or A flat minor 13,
right?
You already sound pretty jazzy,
right? And the thing is that jazz nomenclature for the chords is a little tricky because we're playing this in the context of G. So if we're considering the G staying the root, it would be named a different chord. But if we're just going to name it for what it is, yeah, it'd be like a minor 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then we're going to move to the A string, and look, your pinky is going to stay on the same fret of the B string, that same 5th fret. Everything else just moves up a half step, right? So whoop. So now your index finger moves to the 5th fret of the low E. Your index finger moves to the 4th fret of the D string, and your ring finger moves to the 5th fret of the G string, right? And your pinky stays right there on the 5th fret of the B. And now we have A minor.
A minor 6. There it is.
Right? A minor 6. Yeah. Yeah. So now we have this movement of, and we're going to play that second chord again here. So it's your index finger here on the B flat, which is the 6th fret of the low E string. And then we have the staircase again, see? So we have the index finger right here on the 5th fret of the D string, then the 6th fret of the G string, and then our pinky holds down the 7th fret of the high B string.
And I think it's important to think of these kind of chords as shapes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you build that staircase first and then add the root note secondary, I think it's a lot easier to make and conceptualize if you've never played chords like this before.
Yeah.
So.
And then, another fun little, just a little tip of jazz, right, would be that if you have this chord and you change the root note 1/2 step down, so instead of playing a B flat, we play an A. Now we have a regular 13 chord, right? So you can play that anytime you're playing the blues and you go to the 5 chord, you can play this instead.
Solid.
Or you could play like major, dominant 7, right? Bounce between them and stuff. But that's for another lesson.
That's for Just the Tip Blues.
That's right, Just the Tip Blues, yeah.
Which is coming.
It's coming. Just the Tip metal. We got a thing. So, anyways,
in fact, in the comments, let us know what more Just the Tips you want.
Right. So, if you want to sit around and you want to sound super jazzy, and you want to actually, this is also an excellent thing to use on your looper and then practice some lead, right? Because it does bounce between keys, and it's interesting to follow the chords. So again, it's just your G major 6, this kind of 13 chord, and then A minor 6, and then that 13 chord again.
Could be easy.
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, your index finger and your middle finger, again, they never move.
No.
And then, so it's just a fun little exercise for your fingers,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anything else to add, Sean?
No, thank you, Justin.
No, thank you. I think this has been Just the Tip. Jazz.